Hello, everyone. Todd's out today, so I am gonna sub for Todd. So everybody has a packet in front of you. I'm gonna start with roll attendance. Dave Fulkerson. Here. Josh Cummings. Here. John Wardle is absent. John Nesmith. Here. Spencer Martin, absent. And Butch Whedon.
I'm here.
You're here. So with that, the agenda in front of you, we're gonna start on item number 2. Information that's behind the packet for our fiscal year 2019 financial results. So in front of you is a page that is double-sided. The very first page should say impact fee fiscal year actual results with fund balance position. So with that, there's the 3 departments where they're currently sitting for fiscal year 2019. And in the column to the right of that is our fiscal year 2020 budget. So if we look at police department, we ended the fiscal year 2019 with total revenues over $800,000. Operating expense, as you see there, it's $4,168,000. So with the ending fund balance highlighted in blue, police is sitting at 2.6 in total fund balance for impact fees. For their fiscal year 2020 budget, we have, I just want to make a note that there is, the budget is highlighted in blue. There's new rates that came into effect, and that's why you'll see for police department, their budget impact revenue is a little less than previous year because of our new rates that went into effect in October. For PD's capital outlay for the coming year, we have the police station precinct project, police station expansion, and the public safety training center, which then ending their projected fund balance at $738,000. I'll pause there and see if you guys have any questions for police department's financials as far as impact fees. I see none. So we're going to move to fire department. And our same setup for fire department. Our revenue collected for at the end of fiscal year 2019 is around $2.5 million. For fire department, their biggest project for fiscal year 2019 is our Fire Station 6. Their ending fund balance at the end of fiscal year 2019 is $5.8 million, highlighted in blue. So same with their, if we look over the next column is our fiscal year 2020 budget. The biggest project for fire department is the continuation of Fire Station 6 that we're going to utilize impact fees for. So with that, we're projecting we're going to end in fiscal year 2020 with impact fee fund balance $4.6 million. I'll pause there and see if you guys have any questions for fire department.
Do the figures relate to the projections that the group had made?
As far as our fiscal year 2019 financial results, I can circle back with you, Butch, on that question.
My question is, are we on track as anticipated, or are there issues arising that the group should need to deal with?
Steve, do you have?
The insight I would have is having tracked my own, which we're yet to get to, but I believe for last year we're ahead of schedule for the projections simply because the rate of growth has been so high last summer and fall. The number of building permits were high. Now, that's kind of an anecdotal summary, but I think it probably behooves, looking at the actual numbers, but I believe that the actual permits pulled were greater than the number forecasted, so I think the current revenues are up from projections.
What I will do is send out the group the budget to actual report that compares for the comparison for fiscal year 19. Okay.
I did have one question. When we changed that to the staggered, do you have any information on, like, what it would have been if we would have kept it the same, with just the
Right.
one permit number versus, or the permit amount versus the multi square footage? And then what did we do, like a 5-step or 5 different
Tiers.
impact fee? Yeah, tiered,
Uh-huh.
thank you. So, and I didn't know if that's, relevant to do, but I know we had many discussions when we talked about it, and they said it all ended up being the same, which, depending on what permits are pulled, that I didn't know if you had any demographics on basically what's being built and what permits are being pulled, because we've tiered it more heavy on the top end versus, and lowered the cost on the smaller homes. If you had any numbers per se after we've ran this model for, basically a year.
I don't
Coming up.
have any in preparation of today's meeting, but I can definitely find out and circle back with you guys on what we're asking for is actuals based on our old rates, what that would have been, or the number here, and what would have been for the new model, what the actual numbers are.
That'd be great.
Okay. Okay. Welcome, John.
Thank you. The train got me, so.
That's okay. So we're currently on Parks Department now. We're going to move towards looking at Parks fiscal year 19 financial results. So on the second page of the sheet we were just on, if you look at fiscal year 19 for Parks Department, they collected $3.4 million in revenue, impact fee revenue. Their biggest project for fiscal year 19 was Discovery Park construction. That ended the Parks Department remaining fund balance for the year 7.4. For fiscal year 2020 budget, we're projecting that they would bring in $4.1 million in impact fee. It's a little higher because we have the new rates that came in effect in October. And then the biggest project for parks in fiscal year 2020 is Phase 2 of Discovery Park. The ending projection fund balance for Parks Department is $10.9 million. I will pause there to see if there's any questions for Parks Department. And then the very last set of numbers is just a summation of what we just went through. With that, I'm going to move on to item number 3 of the agenda, talking about permitting trends. So in front of you is a few graphs. The very first one is we're looking at residential. It is the blue graphs. So for residential, in front of you is the history of what we have in sales as far as residential sales for the years. And those are number of permits. So for fiscal year 2019, we had a little over 2,000 number of residential permits. Turn to the next page, we're going to look at multifamily. So for multifamily, we ended fiscal year 19 with about 840 number of units in multifamily, as compared to the previous year, over 1,200. So that's for multifamily number of units. very last graph is a comparison of how residential and multifamily stack on top of another for the represented years. Those are the historical permitting trends. I'm going to move to projections for future years coming up. So in the item number 4, we're going to talk about the growth projections and how that is looking like for permit sales. So every year we have a growth committee that gets together for the city here in Meridian. Every August we look at multiple sources of data to arrive at where we're going to be at for permit sales for the upcoming years. So in front of you, you'll see residential and multifamily. For fiscal year 2020, we are looking at still producing over $2,000 in residential permits. Multifamily is decreasing. It's decreasing at a slower pace. So right now, we're projecting that it's going to go. We're going to produce about 610 multifamily units for fiscal year 2020. And as you can see, the permit sales for 2021 and ongoing, it's a slow decline. That is based on all the data and collected from the growth committee. With that, we have also in conjunction with permit sales and population projections, which is the next graph for the next. It's a 10-year graph that lays out where the city's population projections is going to go. Right now, for fiscal year 2020, we are looking at a population of 119,000. So in 10 years from now, we're going to add about 34,000 people in population. So it's going to, in 2029, we're looking at a population of 153,000 for City of Meridian. With that, do you guys have any questions about our growth projections? It's alarming.
I have a
Yeah.
question, if I might, Mr. Chairman. I was just curious about the current number.
Yes.
So 119, is that the most recent Compass estimate?
It's the, we work in conjunction with Compass and our planning department. Yep. That is the current number for the city of Meridian, so
Cool.
we want to say yes.
Yeah, I was just curious because I've been wanting to hear a number. The last official number I heard about a year ago was the 114 number. I've been hearing that we're closer to the 120 number, but I haven't heard anything,
I believe
anything official.
they publish, Compass published in April. I believe that's where we're getting this number. There's an estimate.
Later this year.
Can I?
This year, so. Data point on there for that, 24.
Really? I hadn't heard that one.
That's for a full
Oh,
district, not city property.
got it. And if it's not handy, feel free to email it out with the other stuff. I was just curious.
There. Let me circle back with you, Steve.
And if I may, I had a question regarding the growth. Are they giving that number every year? And if we are, can we maybe, I don't know, put that on a trend line somewhere? It would be interesting to see where we were, looking back 19, over the last 5 years, and be interesting to track where the actual growth, where the actual number is as it falls within the trend line here. So, I mean, that's not really,
For population?
yes.
Okay. Okay.
I guess the other comment I have is we're obviously predicting growth, if my numbers are correct, 24,000 over the next 9 years?
About 34,000.
I stand corrected, 34,000. Higher math gets me every time. I should have used my calculator. But we are showing a pretty, I guess, normal decrease of permits over that same period of time. Not questioning that, it's 34,000 people in 9 years, 10 years. Still seems like a lot of people coming into our local market, but the permit growth is going to decrease. So, again, it's all economics, right? People, we're running estimates and things like that.
Should let them.
We're going to drop from 2,500 predicted in 2020 down to 1,300 in 2029.
Again, this might be worth looking into. I see you looking like you're not quite sure what to say, but I believe that this is the number of permits that equals that population growth.
Okay.
And so the question is, will we sustain that high level of growth that we see today? The projection as of last year or 18 months ago when we were talking through this and came from the growth committee was that it was anticipated that it wouldn't stay that high, that it would decrease in terms of annual numbers, but over that, I think that number of permits is the number that leads to a 34,000 person population increase.
Okay. Thank you.
That makes sense.
And you also have that crazy growth of multifamily that's happening too, that Meridian never had before.
True, but that's tapered off even more significantly if you look at the red bar on here of the projected permit growth.
But we do have that pretty good spike going right now.
Yeah.
Just a conservative approach.
Okay. Sounds like I have a few items I need to circle back with you guys on. Yes, Dave?
Potentially one more. So in supplement to this sheet, probably would be nice to get the same thing based on our projections going forward
Okay.
for the remaining years of the items that are still eligible for the impact fee, just so we can get some measure on whether the fee's gonna generate the cash required to cover the items that are currently authorized in CIP to be impact fee eligible.
Okay. So I'll expand and then project out based on our permit sales and our, what we have in our plan as far as utilizing the impact.
And, you know, if you have some thoughts on when those, what years those
Yep.
expenditures would, and then kind of give us a measure of
Okay.
fund balance is going to be sufficient.
Makes sense.
Okay. With that, I don't have any other items on the agenda. Do you guys have anything else to add? Okay, meeting adjourned.